Here are 9 facts about Lamentations that you may not have known. Number 1. So the book of Lamentations is a book written by what most people believe to be the prophet Jeremiah. This follows in our Bible the book of Jeremiah, and it's thought of as being kind of an epilogue or a sequel to the book of Jeremiah. So in this book, we see the heart cry of the prophet Jeremiah following a catastrophic event, which was the destruction of the temple in 586 BC. Number 2. Lament, the word means a cry of agony or mourning, which is usually found in poetic form. Now, the word lamentation, where we get our title from, the book of Lamentations, it comes from, originally, the book's title was called How. The Hebrew word was ekah, and this is where we get the word how from, because the first word in chapter 1 and chapter 2 and chapter 4 all began with that same word, how. Number 4. The Greek Old Testament of the Hebrew Scriptures, known as the Septuagint, gave the title Threni or Threni, which means Lamentations. Now from that, the Latin translation of the Bible gave the title as Lamenta, which again means Lamentations. So we base our title of Lamentations based off of the Greek Old Testament title as well as the Latin version title of this. Number 5. And this title certainly makes sense because this is following the destruction of the temple, which was kind of all life revolved around the temple for the Israelites at this point in time. And to see that be destroyed was a cataclysmic event that had long-lasting implications for the people. So to see not just Jerusalem, the city, get destroyed, but also their beloved temple, it makes them wonder, has God removed his presence from us? Are we no longer going to be able to serve God the way that we have in the past? And these different questions have now flooded their minds. So with the destruction of the temple, following that, Jeremiah wrote this book. And it was probably written about 585 BC, which is around 1 year after this event took place. Now, what was happening was, for about 2 years, 18 months, something like that, Jerusalem was under siege by Nebuchadnezzar and his army of Babylon. And finally, in 586 BC, the walls were broken into, Jerusalem was destroyed, the temple was destroyed. Number 6. So because of this horrific event, the 9th day of the month of Av in the Jewish calendar is very important. And on that day, which is depending on when their calendar lines up with ours, it's usually in July or August. During this 9th day of the month of Av is the same day that both the first temple in 586 BC was destroyed by the Babylonians, and it's also the same day that the second temple was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. So this day is commemorated each year, and on that day they read the book of Lamentations and they remember the destruction of God's temple. Number 7. Now the book of Lamentations is unique because the first 4 chapters are all alphabetic acrostics, and by that it means that it begins with what would be in our alphabet like the letter A and go all the way to the letter Z. So in their alphabet, it begins with the word Aleph, it ends with Tav. There's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. So the beginning of each verse in these chapters will have that opening letter as the first letter in that sequence. So as we are reading it in English, we don't catch that. But if we were to read a story or a poem today and the first letter was A and the next letter was B and the next letter was C of these different lines, the fourth line is D and so forth and so on, we would automatically see that. It would not be something that would be missed upon us. The same way when they read it in their native language, they caught up on that very quickly. Number 8. Now chapters 1 through 4 are all alphabetic acrostics, but chapter 3 is a little bit different because instead of being 22 verses, it is 66 verses. So it's a triple acrostic. So instead of one line beginning with what would be like the letter A, it has 3 consecutive lines, each one beginning with the letter A. And then verses 4, 5, and 6 would begin with what would be for us the letter B, and so forth and so on. So there's triple acrostic there. That's why there's 66 verses as opposed to 22. Number 9. If you are reading the book of Lamentations, you will see several different words used to describe the book of Jerusalem. So it is sometimes referred to as daughter Jerusalem. It's sometimes referred to as daughter Judah. And it is probably most famously referred to as daughter Zion, which is a phrase that's also used in Isaiah and Psalms in particular. And these are just different ways of speaking about the city of Jerusalem. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.